So, as I was saying, this will be the first animation that has sound to it. So, part of your project will be deciding what kind of sound you would like to use. Now, this is sort of a Halloween themed thing. So, let me show you first the characters that you'll get to use. Okay. I have grabbed a whole bunch of random monsters and trick or treaters and different types of characters that you can choose from. And just like with the green person, this is in Adobe Illustrator. So, what we will eventually do, and you won't do this part until next week, okay? So, you don't do this part until next week, but I want you to be able to look at the characters and decide what characters you like and what characters you might want to use. You only have to pick three, okay? Because we are kind of coming up on Halloween, and because a lot of these characters are monsters like zombies and Frankenstein and stuff like that, if the bone tool is a little bit wonky and they walk a little bit weird, it might just add to the overall ambiance of a monster video. But basically, what we're going to do is we're going to make just like a little monster dance. Okay. And I have a bunch of sound bits that are off the internet. Some of them are very festive and like peppy, happy sort of Halloween songs. Some of them are more on the scarier end and feel more like they're from a horror movie. You don't have to use Halloween music. Okay, I know most of you are probably well aware that here at school, most things are blocked. These are a bunch of song downloads that I got off the internet for free. You can listen to these. I have headphones. You could choose one of these. You can also, there are three websites here that at least the last time I checked were not blocked, where you could pick out a different song. If you don't want to use a Halloween song, you don't have to. Now, I will mention something to you because it hasn't come up yet, but it will come up from time to time this year. Um, you all know stuff is blocked at school. As a teacher, my permissions to see certain websites are different from yours. Tons of stuff is still blocked for me, but sometimes when I test a website to see if it's open, like if it's not blocked by the school, it will be unblocked for me, but then you all will try it and it'll be blocked. If ever I give you a link and it's blocked, let me know, because there's not a good way for me to test it other than just having you all try it out and you tell me, hey, this doesn't actually work for student accounts. But you're going to pick out a song. Now, if you want to pick a completely different song, on Monday, I will show you how to very quietly commit minor copyright infringement off YouTube. Okay? But if you want to select one of these songs, you're more than welcome to. Now, let me give you an overview of the project. And what you'll do on Thursday is the brainstorming that goes with it. Kind of like with the Fishy project, you are going to be required to tell me that you have a game plan before you get started so that it doesn't become overwhelming as you build it. This animation is going to have a lot of parts to it. You don't have to draw for this one. Okay. And in fact, I don't want you to. A lot of you did really lovely, like genuinely nice illustrations for your Fishy project. They look great. But I want you to focus on making the bodies move a little bit more than the fish did. And I don't want you to spend all your time drawing. So this project is just called Monsters in Motion because you're going to make some monsters move around. All right. So as I mentioned before, the first thing I'm going to have you do is choose some so-called monsters. Not all of them in the file that I've given you are actually monsters. A lot of them are adorable little just like trick-or-treaters and stuff. So if you don't want to use something that's on the creepier end, you don't have to. Okay. But you do need to pick at least three characters. And I do want to mention for a second, let's look back at this document just so you can kind of see some of these characters. Okay, so if you look in here, I've got some cats doing weird Halloween stuff. There's a wolf man. There's a classic kind of witch, Bride of Frankenstein, Frankenstein. There are several different types of skeletons. There's like a generic one. Here's some here. There's even some over here. Okay, there are all kinds of just like monsters, like alien type kind of monsters. So if you just want to do a cute Monsters Inc. sort of thing, do you? Do you? There are these happy little candies and pumpkins and bats and cauldrons. There are a bunch of little trick or treaters. Okay, I don't know who thought this would be great, but I like the kid in the pickle costume. Okay, so there are a bunch of like random little trick or treaters. There are mummies. There's several different types of like Dracula-esque characters. There's this jack-o'-lantern person. There's a zombie. Okay, here's a female sort of vampire. Frankenstein's in there. Frankenstein's monster. And then there are a bunch of little accessories up here These little things up here, like the eyeball, the mushroom, the candy basket, even the ghost, they don't count as characters. But if you want to add extra details in, you can. I will mention there are also a few other characters over here. These are just a little bit harder to make them animate because they don't have as many parts and pieces. So, like, take for instance this lady here that kind of looks like she's out of the movie The Ring. Okay, if I click on this lady actually has no legs because this is drawn on the computer. It's just a big white shape for her body. So, I can't actually move her as much as I can most of these other characters over here that do actually have legs that you could pick up and move. Okay, so we do want to pick things that you like, but we want to make sure that they're things you feel confident you can move. I want to mention to you too, any of these things that I've given in here to you, next week, so not next class, but next week, I will show you how you can come in and you could change the color of anything. So if I want this jack-o'-lantern to have a different color shirt, if I want to recolor things, if I want to remove some of the clothing, maybe I don't like that they're wearing that outfit, I can move stuff. Okay, so you can recreate the characters to give them a little bit of your own style. But I want you to see them, and you can download this off of Canvas to look at it because I do want you to go ahead and pick out what your three characters are. So even if you plan to change colors, make adjustments, I want you to be able to tell me when you fill out your brainstorming worksheet what characters you plan to use. Now, these characters don't have exact names. So if you know you plan to use a mummy, a zombie, and a witch, just tell me mummy, zombie, and a witch. Okay. These little kids out here, I consider them trick or treaters. They're like clearly in their Halloween costumes. Some of them have their little like candy basket and everything. So just kind of give me an overview when you fill out the brainstorming worksheet. But that is what you're going to work on next class. Now, let me go over a few more specifics. Okay. So I want you to keep in mind whatever monsters you pick, and they are a hodgepodge of different art styles. But whatever your monsters are, they're going to determine the look of your animation. Okay. And you want to think about what theme do you want? Do you want a kind of spooky, creepy thing? Do you want a goofy, funny type video? And pick characters that you feel like suit whatever style you want to do because you can do it however you would like. You are going to also pick a background, and that's an important part of kind of setting the theme. So if you all think back to when we did the gazelles and you picked out a background for behind the gazelles, we're going to pick out a background off the internet for behind your monsters. And it can be a spooky scene like a graveyard or a haunted house, or you could just put them on stage, or they could be inside a ballroom. They don't have to be anywhere that's creepy. Okay. But they do need to have some kind of background. And we're not going to draw the background either. We're going to find it. Okay. Now, your music part. You do have to have music. Like I mentioned before, you don't have to use the music I supplied to you, but when you fill out your brainstorming worksheet, I want to know what music you plan to use. So before you build anything, before you animate anything, I want you to pick out your music, and that's because you're going to want to animate your characters in a way that they kind of move with the music. Now, your characters don't have to do like K-pop or boy band fancy dance moves. They don't have to do anything like that. But if your song is really fast, you want to maybe make like faster movements with your characters. If your song is really slow, maybe you want them to move a little bit slower. They don't have to do anything crazy, but you are going to have to move multiple parts of their body. Unlike with the fish, where most fish just kind of floated around, this will have multiple things that are moving. So think hard about what music you want to use. And it does not have to be Halloween themed. If you have a favorite song right now that is completely unrelated, as long as it's school appropriate or we can find a clean version, next week I'll show you how to record it. And if you want to add that to it, go for it. Okay, that's totally fine. All right. Now, as I mentioned, when you do pick out your music, consider your vibe or your mood, the speed, and the length is another thing. Okay, some of the songs that I supplied to you are really long, some of them are really short. Okay, your animation has to be at least 80 frames and a maximum of 250. The reason I made it less than the fishing animation is because you're going to have to do more difficult movements. So even though it's less frames, it's still a lot of moving stuff around. You can do more than 80 though. If your song is too short to fill up your timeline, I can show you how to make it repeat. If yours is really, really long, we might want to consider how you want to cut the song down to make sure that it plays the parts you want to hear when your animation is running. And I'll walk you through all that. I just want you to think about it ahead of time. Okay. We will use the bone tool or layer parenting to rig up your characters. Okay. You can add additional objects and stuff like what I pasted in the document. You can add them in there. But at the end of the day, I want you to put most of your focus into animating the characters so that they look really good. Okay. Now, I do just feel like I have to kind of mention this. Your class has been perfectly fine with this. A few years ago, though, I had a real issue with this. Okay. It is like a spooky-esque theme, but it's still like a school project. Please don't, viciously attack any of your characters in your animation. Okay. They are zombies and stuff. They're going to be weird and they're going to do creepy things, but keep it like G-rated and just fun. Okay. Don't add a lot of blood or anything crazy like that. Keep it chill. Okay, keep it simple, keep it fun. All right, so that's an overview of the project, and that was a really rushed one. All right, so give me, I know I'm starting to lose you. Give me like 5 more minutes of your time because I won't see you Thursday, and I want to make sure that we know kind of what we need to do. Okay, so this page is going to be there. You can look back at it. If we have time, I'll go ahead and play a couple of animations of monsters dancing. One of the best ones right here is Silly Symphonies. It's an early Disney one. You've probably seen clips of it, even if you don't realize it. Okay, you can listen to the music here. If you need to borrow headphones from me next class, there's a big bucket in the middle of the room by the hand sanitizer. You can grab a pair of headphones. Just do me a favor, put them back at the end of class. Okay, now you are going to do a brainstorming worksheet. I want to look at it with you really quick so you kind of see it. But again, it's pretty much like the fishy one. This is a super short worksheet where you basically just tell me what you think you want to put in there. So on the assignment that just says Monsters in Motion Brainstorming, you just make a copy of the Google Doc, okay, like I'm going to do here. And in here, it literally just asks some of the most basic questions that I went over with you, things you have to have. Okay, so what is the name of the sound file you want to use? If you want to use one of mine, if you go back to that page, they all have a name underneath. So like underneath, I'm sorry, thank you for getting that. So underneath, you'll see like this one is literally called Creepy. That one's called Dance of Death. Okay, if you want to pick your own, like you want to do a Taylor Swift song or whatever makes you happy, just type that song right there. Okay, just tell me. If it's a link on YouTube, you can put the link there. Tell me what you think you want the mood or the vibe to be. Do you want it to be like happy, chill? Do you want it to be just kind of like fun, slightly spooky? Okay, and answer these simple questions like what monsters you want to put. If you can, go ahead and find a background image and you can paste the link to it in here. So if you remember when we did the gazelles, what was the adjective or the word that I had you all add to the search to make sure that we found the right style of backgrounds? Does anybody remember? Yeah, perfect. I can't believe you remember that, but yes, it was vector. I saw a couple hands come up. So vector is the same style that these characters are drawn in. So if I type like vector Halloween background, and it's vector just like that little kid from that cartoon from the one with the minions, right? Don't just search vector. You get this kid. Where is he? Let's see. He's always that one. We don't want that. Okay, but it's spelled the same way. So yeah, you could search like ones like this. Now you don't have to use ones like this. Okay, maybe you decide since they are dancing, maybe you want like a vector ballroom, like a big dance floor.
Like a pun, man.
Yeah, like something like this or like that. Or if you want like a vector graveyard. Okay. Or if you want like a vector, I don't know, like a castle instead of like a haunted house kind of thing. Okay, you could search all kinds of different things. This is probably not a great one, but you could also just put them outside. So like I could just do, or maybe you want them in space. You can put your monsters in space. I should put space background. Add the word background, and you'll get better results. But yeah, you can put them wherever you like, really, as long as you find a good background. So if I do find one and it's pretty good size and I like it, okay, go ahead and save it to your computer. You can also right click on it. And if you hit copy link address when you right click on it, you could just paste it right in your brainstorming document. Okay. And then it'll be there for next time. We can find it. Okay. But this is what you're going to work on next class. This is very short. Most of you will get done with this pretty early. What takes the longest, honestly, is deciding on the music. And I do want you to listen to the music because this is our first project with music. So pick music that you actually like and take your time and listen to it. Okay. But that's what we're going to focus on Thursday. Now, when we come back on Monday, I will show you how to change up your characters, how to break them apart, how to do all the things to them. But if you do want to look at this document again, this is the last thing I'm going to show you and talk about today. It's inside the Monsters in Motion brainstorming assignment. You just got to scroll down to the bottom of the page down here underneath the PowerPoint I just showed you. There it is. Okay. You can download it and open it to look back at it. But that's what we're going to focus on Thursday. And I know I won't be here to answer a whole lot of questions that day. Does anybody have any questions so far? Like right now? Yeah, go for it. I can post my own music, so yes, you certainly can. And like I mentioned before, if you want a song that's not included on there, I will show you next week. We can rip stuff off YouTube. It's frowned upon if you're doing commercial stuff, but we're in a classroom doing an educational piece. We can do it. Okay. So yeah, you don't have to pick what I supplied. I just try to supply you with stuff because so many websites are blocked. All right, cool. That's what we're gonna focus on. Okay. I'm gonna stop talking for now. We had